Thank you for watching Ben Television. The program is You Decide. My name is Shegun Johnson, and we are going to discuss so many issues today. I'm sure that you are ready. But in the studio, I have with me four gentlemen, and we're going to do justice to what those things have happened in the past 7 days. All the way from Milan, we have our man, Mark Godwin. Mark, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Dr. Shagun. Good morning to all the viewers.
Here in London, we have a guest speaker, Victor Kenny McCarthy. Victor, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shagun. God bless you.
We also, of course, we have in-house researcher, Nati Yakwo. Nati, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody.
Now we have this man who has been roaming all over Africa and graciously is back into London. Mazi Gosin Azu. Azu, you are finally welcome back home.
Thank you very much, You Decide family. I am back here with you. I want to thank God for all the great opportunities and the grace to go through the dangerous routes and air of Nigeria. My next destination is going to be Kenya. Watch out.
Okay, we'll be giving you time during the program to tell us many things that you have done there. You went for almost 3 months, and we'll be very much interested in what happened. But in the meantime, the United Kingdom has been gracious to return the Ibori stolen money of £5.8 million. Many of us remember James Ibori as the one who stole blind his people in Delta State. He was caught from Dubai and sentenced to jail in the United Kingdom. He served his jail term and returned to Nigeria a stronger man in his local politics. He was involved in so many decision-taking and who will be or who will not be the governor in Delta State of Nigeria. Today, the British government sent back that money, and we hope the money will be carefully spent. But I think the money is tied to some projects. Nat, can you bring us up to date? Is the money tied to something or what?
Yeah, the money is tied to 3 main projects. The first one is the second Niger bridge that has been on and on and on.
Forever.
Forever. Second is the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and then the Abuja-Kanu-Dua Carriageway.
Thank you. Nazi, is the Lagos-Ibadan...
Dr. Johnson.
Yeah.
Before we leave, sorry, but there is controversy surrounding that £4.6 million.
Okay.
The money was stolen by Ibori when he was governor of Delta State. Yeah. But when he was eventually convicted when the case was going on in the British court, the Delta State said they didn't know anything about that money.
Yeah.
And so the federal government pursued that issue, and eventually this money is back. And Delta State is now coming up to say it's their money. It should come to Delta State. But the danger is if that money eventually gets to Delta State, it will get to Ibori. Ibori is effectively running the government of Delta State as we speak.
Now you're going to help me out. When a stolen money is recovered, does it go to the federal government or the state government?
In other cases, we have had other cases, it goes to the state government where the money was stolen.
Okay, thank you. Mazi, you just returned from Nigeria. This money, part of it will be spent to do Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. As far as I know, they've been trying to remake that road for the past 20 years, 100-mile road. What is so special about this road that no government can conquer it? You just returned.
Thank you very much, Doc. I think the most important thing about this road and the elephant projects about it is that the government are not honest and sincere about what they need to do on this road, because the road is a political machinery. It's a money siphoning project that has been used to siphon money through Julius Berger and all the various contractors that have been applying all sorts of strategies to make that road motorable and usable by the common people in Nigeria. The only solution to this problem is absolute dualization of that road. But unfortunately, state governments along that road that owns part of those roads, Ogun, Oyo, and so on, have all given some of this road, part of the entire axis of this road, to churches. And now for the federal government to be able to dualize this road for the standard, international standard highway, they need to take most of those lands from these people, because the moment they're just mending and patching aspects of the road, making it impossible to construct a proper internationally standard highway on that 100-kilometer road in Lagos.
So it boils down to political will. I want to quickly jump.
It's a political will, and nobody has that will to do that, to take over some of these lands from these people and give them the necessary compensations and do justice to that road once and for all. But then every government is using that road to siphon money.
I want to ask Mark in Milan. Thank you, Mazi. Mark, what is wrong with the Nigerian society that someone is a convict, and then when he returns back home, he becomes a hero, and people still believe in him, and he could still determine who becomes the next governor or the next representative? What is wrong with the mentality of the Nigerian society?
Yes, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor. This shows how poverty and the mental state of Nigerians have turned to, because it was never like this back in the days. It started in these early years when the love for money became the Nigerian norm. And it's a shame that somebody like this, a governor of a state, will make away with this amount of money. But take note that the estimated amount is $165 million. That's 117 million pounds. But they've been able to recover these 4.2 million. And there are other things also that have been confiscated. Now, Nigerians, his village people, his town people, most Deltans don't see this as a crime. They rather see it as witch hunting Ibori. And we celebrate evil. We celebrate this kind of people in Nigeria because the mindset has been reduced to thinking, man, just go get the money. Yesterday, there was a sad one again. The PA of a state in America siphoning, laundering money in America. So we have come to this state, and it will take a lot to work on the mental state of Nigerians to begin to see that it is not about worshiping, celebrating these people. It is about shaming them, calling them, putting them into, calling the names they are. These are criminals. These are robbers. And also, we need to begin to also teach our children the value of having moral, the value of having respect when it comes to civic duty, when it comes to upholding one's office with integrity. So it's a big work to be done, Doctor. It's a big work.
Thank you very much. Let me ask Victor in London.
Yeah.
How do we cover or shield our young people from having this mentality of stealing government money and still becoming a celebrity? Because if this generation should hand it over to the coming generation, kleptocracy will look like the order of the day. Have we passed that level that the upcoming generation, they are just going to think government money is to be stolen and then you get away with it? Victor, what do you say?
Oh, thank you for that. The case of Nigeria on lost value, I would call it the lost values. I remember when I was coming to United Kingdom, my dad told me, remember the son of who you are.
Absolutely.
I was already a graduate. I was coming to UK and he's still telling me, remember the son of who you are. We have lost that. We have lost that. And I was speaking to an honorable recently, and I was saying to them, how can we get the mentality back? How can we get this value system back into Nigeria? And that is your question. That is your question, sir. And most people would say, oh, the religious institution. I think we've been complicit in all these things that have happened. We have been complicit, the religious institution as well. And so I think we have to go down to the grassroots and begin some sort of public enlightenment campaign, educating the young ones. Even if you go to primary school, after I left from the government here, having worked for the government for some time, I went into mission work and I do a lot of missionary work. And I go to Lagos. And what happened is that you see people, I've traveled the north, I've traveled the south, east, and west, and it's the same mentality. It's the same mentality. And all I can see here is a lost value system.
Okay. Kenny, Victor, let me ask you a question before I go to our in-house researcher.
Yes.
To what extent should we thank the British government? Mark just told us that the money is up to $165 million or 116 million pounds. We've managed to recover 5.8 million pounds. Should we thank the British government a lot? But when you think of the percentage of the money that has just been released, is less than 5% of what was stolen. And knowing the complicity of European and American governments in the keeping of the money, to what extent do we now thank the British government? But within the Nigerian system, the money will not have been recovered. And if recovered, it will still be restolen. So should we be thanking the British government?
Well, saying that, this has been happening for quite a while. And most people find it comfortable to steal money from Nigeria and take it abroad. They take it to the Swiss banks, they take it to the British banks, and whatever they're doing there, I don't know. And you will see that the government of the international government, the Western government, I would say in a way are complicit. And sometimes I will push it as far as saying that they may sometimes encourage this thing, in the sense that at the end of the day, the tax has been paid here. They are gaining from every loot amount that is being given out. And we have to come to a point whereby we see the world as a global village. Anything that is wrong in Africa, Britain must see that it will affect them at one point in time or the other. America must see that it will affect them one point in time or the other. And we've got to begin to watch after each and every one of ourselves. So there's a lot of complicity going on. There's a lot of complexity in terms of finance, moving things here and there. But at the end of the day, if we start seeing ourselves from a selfless perspective rather than a selfish perspective, I think things will start working. That's what I have to say on that at the moment.
Thank you, Victor. Nat, half a loaf is better than none. Should we be rolling on the ground for the British government, knowing fully well that the Nigerian system does not have the ability to recover stolen money? And even if it is recovered, it is stolen will be before the very eyes of Nigerians. To what extent should we thank them? If you put into consideration all the other scandals like the Johnson Matthey bag scandal of Margaret Thatcher years, the Swiss banks, they've not yet released all the money stolen by Abacha. They released it in peace and holding back to some. Of course, like Kenny said, is running their economy. Should we just thank them, oh gracious master?
I think it's true. What we are getting is less than half a loaf. Yes, you see, because if we're talking of this money 10 years ago, 4.6 million pounds, how much was it worth? What was the value? Definitely, it's not what we are getting. And as my colleague said, no, the British government, in fact, the Western government, have encouraged this looting because their economy is built or they use the loot to develop their economy at the expense of Africa. Even in France, de Gaulle and all these people have come out to say that if not the resources of Africa, France or Europe couldn't have the development they have today. They couldn't have had it because they don't have these resources.
Okay, so we just have to leave it there, Nat. We're trying to put it on the conscience of the Western world. If the money have been stolen and kept here one way or the other, you know about it. We put it on their conscience. May their conscience help them to return every loot, every house of every leader in Bishop Avenue in London. They know where those places are. Things that I don't even know. So let's leave it there and put it on the conscience of the West, if any. Let's go on to May 17. We waited for May 17, Nat. Please bring us to date. Monday was May 17. Are we in El Dorado? My passport is ready. Where am I going? Nat, please, quickly.
Well, it's not quite El Dorado. It's not quite Uhuru. It's not quite Uhuru. It's not quite anything yet because there is still a lot of uncertainty, especially between science and politics of COVID-19 and the vaccine, and so many issues are coming up. It is like a waiting game. Wait and see how events unfold. Will the Indian variant dominate the health system in the UK? So there are so many uncertainties still looming around. Even though people started traveling on that 17th of May, especially to Portugal and some of these other countries, there's still a lot of uncertainty. And
well, will you suggest we use the vaccine passport?
No, that one too. Yeah, I think some individuals will be denied their fundamental human rights when you start using vaccine.
All right. Let me ask Mazi. Mazi just returned and he passed through the airport yesterday. Mazi, tell us your experience before you left Nigeria. What things you were subjected to, and in the aeroplane, what happened in the aeroplane? Were you all covering your nose? I don't want to ask you whether you were in business class or first class. That would be too personal on the national television. But tell us your experiences, and when you got to Heathrow or wherever you landed, what were the things that you are supposed to do? You must be in quarantine by now. Of course, you are. Go and tell us, Mazi.
Thank you very much, Doc. Obviously, my experience in Nigeria, first of all, has been that of mixed reactions. And obviously, I would say that COVID, anyway, and literally the narratives will be that there is nothing like COVID in Nigeria. People are not very, very conscious about what COVID is about in Nigeria. In my own experience, and obviously I did travel so many places in Nigeria in the last 2 months and a half, and many people don't really care about what you think about COVID in Nigeria. They see it as a rhetoric. They see it as a fallacy. In as much as nobody is dying on their streets about COVID, nobody is dying in the villages about COVID, nobody is dying in the market about COVID, nobody is dying in the workplace about COVID. Only the rich die, and they name it COVID. The most greatest and grievous killer in Nigeria today is malaria and typhoid. And because people hide under the name of COVID and die in different forms, COVID becomes the umbrella by which they name your death. Going by the travel procedure, the procedure still remains the same. You do your normal Abuja or Lagos or wherever COVID test, 72 hours or 48 hours before your flight, which is a very strong requirement. You fill up your Britain or UK locator form online, which is very, very important and instrumental to you boarding the flight. And then you pay your 2-day, 8-day COVID test in the UK. These are the 3 requirements. Once you can meet these 3 requirements, whether they are obviously or no, The UK ones are obvious because they are all guided by a very strong British rules and institution. The Nigerian one, you do your test and they give you a result, whether it is positive, negative, you don't know how the result comes. All you know is that they give you a result. And you present your 3 documents at the airport in Abuja or Lagos. And then obviously you
What are the 3 documents? The 3 documents are what?
Your Nigerian COVID test, which must be certified by a government recognized laboratory or COVID test laboratory in Lagos, Abuja, Enugu, or Port Harcourt. And you obviously fill up very, very essential and important your UK locator form, which gives a guide about where you're going to stay when you are in the UK, and contact tracing for you by the government of the UK. And then finally, you have to make sure you pay for your UK COVID test, 2 2nd-day and 8-day COVID tests.
I understand that is £210.
No. People are making obviously misconceiving this aspect of the regulation. The regulation gives various options of UK recognized laboratories that are being registered or given the right to do those tests in the UK. It's obviously for you now to search for the cheapest ones that you can obviously
give our listeners, our viewers, give them an example.
I was able to find one which I can't remember the name, something screening. They do nationwide COVID test. They just delivered my personal test. You can see it here. They just delivered it now this morning, and I paid £159
for the 2.
For the 2nd day. This is for the 2nd day, and then after this, on the 8th day, they will send me the next pack. So I paid £159. Obviously, when I was searching, there were those who are charging £169, £179, £200. In fact, the first agency I registered with was charging me, inclusive VAT, £222. So it depends on I think it's very important that people are aware of this, so you don't throw away your money. You can easily find ones for inclusive VAT, like the one I found for £150.
Okay, Mazli, tell us what happened in the aeroplane. How did you relate with people in the aeroplane? I mean,
the air flight, including in Nigerian local flight, is within the international COVID protocol rule. You have to remain with your face mask throughout the flight, except at the little gap where you have to have a water or drink water or have your food or whatever, lunch or dinner.
Were there spaces between you and the other passengers?
Obviously, that is the only area that has not been able to implement within the COVID safe distance keeping, social distancing keeping in the aircraft, both local flights and international flights. On the BA flight, if you're unlucky, you have yourself sitting in a 3-row seat with all the 3 passengers sitting there with you. And if you're unlucky, also you could be in the middle row with the 4 passengers all completed in that row. And sometimes you could be very, very lucky. You realize that you are the only one in the 3-sitting row or middle row, 4-sitting axis. And I mean, that aspect of social distance of the aircraft has not been well observed.
Well, they have to make a profit, isn't it? Let's quickly get to Italy. Mark, you've been Italy is coming up, isn't it? Concerning these.
Yes, sir. Italy is coming up. The malls, the gyms, indoor restaurants, services are all resuming. By June, a lot more things will be opening up. Mid-June will end the quarantine for most visitors from the United States. Also, Italy is trying to remove the mandate on mask wearing. So it will be optional if you want to wear, and that will be happening in June. So a lot of good things are coming out.
How about in the Indian variant? Is it coming up in Italy? Or give us an overview of what is going on
No,
in
sir.
Europe,
No,
Germany, France,
we
Spain?
don't have that in Italy yet, because we are really controlling the border, and Italy has restrictions on some flights, and India is one of it, on country flights. Same goes to the western part of Europe too. France is controlling flights. Spain is controlling flights coming in. So because
How
the
come,
Indian,
how come Portugal is doing very well? Because it's not on our red list, it's not on our amber list. In fact, you can go to Portugal from Britain, then you return and you don't have to quarantine.
yes, yes.
What are they doing right in Portugal?
Well, from the onset, Portugal has not had severe COVID-19 cases from the onset. I don't know why. I don't know if it has to do with the weather or restrictions or something. But Portugal has not been in that red code list. And Portugal is a very, very intense tourist zone. So I don't know how they played it out, but it's working, and everybody goes there. It's still open to people. Not only Portugal, also we also have Malta. Malta is also on the friendly, good list of tourist center for many people, because COVID has not done much in those places. Well, as you might know, Malta, Portugal, these places are in very warm weather condition,
Yeah.
and I think that could be playing a factor for them somehow. I guess so.
Okay. I'm on my way to Africa. Thank you. Let me talk, Kenny. A few things here. The Indian variant appears to be taking over certain parts of Britain. I'm talking of Bolton. I'm talking of Blackburn, Bedford, and the British government is being accused of not stopping the Indians from coming in early enough. Even as the worst was that about 10 planes came from India yesterday. Of course, many of them could have been British citizens, but the real thing is that the India variant is coming in through some Indians that are coming into the country. What do you think, based on this, do you think we should just settle for vaccine passport? If you have not received your jab twice, you are not nearing the airport, and what should we do? Or how do you see this India variant fighting us in Britain?
Okay. Right. The issue here is, first of all, let me talk about the COVID and the passport, the vaccine passport.
Yes.
I think the human rights will be affected here. There are some people you will have to discriminate against. There are people who believe that they don't want vaccine. They don't want to take vaccine. So I don't know how many percentage there in terms of the British population, but automatically when you introduce the vaccine passport, you've already cut them out of traveling. So you're saying don't even get near to the airport. Whether this is right or wrong, I don't think it's right anyway. So that's where I stand on that in terms of vaccine. Eventually, I believe that it will come in. The vaccine passport will probably come in. That's one. Then in terms of the Indian coming in planes load, well, look at it this way. Let's turn the coin to the other side. If it were something happening in Africa and we are in Africa and we need to come back to United Kingdom, are we going to see it as fair that they're not going to let us in? That's the first, and you've got your British passport and you're a citizen of United Kingdom. That's the way I would think. That's the way I would think. So the Indians coming back probably see that, oh, I've got my passport. This thing is getting bad in India. We're coming in. I feel that it's the system that needs to put in things in place to make sure that people are tested quickly. We have rapid tests that can be done. I don't know whether it can be done in India and before they board the plane or immediately they land here. We can put systems in place to checkmate this thing before they enter.
All right, Kenny, I've listened to you carefully. According to the Chancellor yesterday,
yes,
he said that most of the Indian variant patients are living in the area where they refuse the jab. In fact, some newspaper call them the refuseniks. And if what do we do to people who say they won't take, and yet they are being infected with the virus, and the NHS will soon be overwhelmed? What do we do with such people if you don't support the vaccine passport?
Well, we're pushing ourselves into what I call a martial law very soon, the way things are going. If people are rejecting the vaccine and they have been affected, I'm sure there will be a law that says that it's not about you anymore. It's not about the people you are affecting. And I believe that the British legal system is capable enough to be able to bring such laws out, to be able to checkmate people like that, who you've been affected, you need to be treated, you need to take the vaccine or have some sort of a treatment. You can't just stay home within your community and keep spreading it around. Eventually, it will come to the populace, and we'll have to find a way of stopping that. I believe the British legal system, having worked with them for quite some time, I know they are capable of bringing in laws that will be able to checkmate all that.
Thank you very much, Kenny. There's no doubt that we're going to have a much discussion on this one, because I mean, the rest of us can't just be affected or be running away from people who refuse to take the jab when the jab is free and it's for you there. At a point, we have to talk to ourselves. We have to go on a short break. When we return, the war in the Middle East is still going on. Who is right? Who is wrong? Or rather, what can we do? Don't go away.
Schengen Story Magazine is an African international bi-monthly magazine based in Milan, Italy, and founded in 2016. The publication focuses on personalities, fashion, style, entrepreneurship, and culture for Africans. Though articles on food, movies, fitness, music, travel, sports, technology, and books are also featured. Our lives full of best stories. A lot can happen in a month. Expand your mind, change your world. Get Schengen Story Magazine's full editions. Celebrating Africans make an impact. Read better, the inside story. Your fashion magazine for a better lifestyle. Inspiring stories for you. Your monthly dose of entertainment. A better mind, keeping you updated.
Hashtag Schengen Story Magazine. Get Schengen Story Magazine full editions.
It has been 1 year of coronavirus, and that sickness has affected the whole globe. The aftermath will even be worse, the way the scientists are telling us. And we believe that we need to counter it right now. If 1 million souls should do good to 1 other million souls, it will be a better place. So we want to start this project. 1 million souls to do good to 1 million souls. Why don't you join us? You don't have to register anywhere. Follow me on Twitter at Segun Johnson UK for daily tips. There we show you how to do good to 1 person. Always remember, 1 million souls, do good to 1 million souls.
Thanks for staying with us. The show is You Decide. And we want to look at what is going on in the Middle East. For the past 7 days, there have been serious bombardments from Israel to the Palestinians and Palestinians back to Israel, and so many thousands of rockets have been fired into Israel, and Israel not only bombarded so many buildings and killed many Palestinians, but said it will continue. It appears the world is weak. The United States is weak. The Russians, they're weak. The European governments are weak concerning this case. It appears they're not doing anything enough because there is no abatement whatsoever. Souls are being lost on the two sides of this war, and yet it may escalate. A third world war may even happen from this. I really don't know what nations are doing to stop this. But then things like what Kamala Harris said may escalate issue because the United States appears to be backing Israel. They've always done so. So they will continue to back Israel, and others will be backing the Palestinians. So what do we do? How do we confront? How do we make things happen? The American government is a bit sleepy, and they try to use other governments like the Egyptian government to speak to the Hamas, and they try to go other places, but they've not been able to come up with a solution. Yet is the most powerful country in the whole world. Everybody is looking up to America, but America appears to be following their traditional route. Will this work, or are we at the verge of a third world war? Listen to what Kamala Harris said. You need to hear this to know.
As Hamas maintains its control of Gaza and fires rockets across Israel's southern border, we must stand with Israel. Our defense relationship is critical to both nations, which is why I support the United States' commitment to provide Israel with $38 billion in military assistance over the next decade. It is why I support the Arrow, David Sling, and the Iron Dome. I will do everything in my power to ensure broad and bipartisan support for Israel's security and right to self-defense. I believe that when any organization delegitimizes Israel, we must stand up and speak out for Israel to be treated equally, fully committing to maintaining Israel's qualitative military edge. We must stand with Israel.
Okay. I understand that we need to analyze this very well because we don't have the full statement. But from this one, Nat, how do we take it?
Well, that is what we call the status quo, and strategic politics or smart politics. We can't see the United States of America make any statement different from what the Vice President of the U.S. has said.
Yeah.
I think the determining factor here is what is your country's strategic interest in the Middle East, and especially with Israel, because people are looking forward to a ceasefire, hopefully very soon, hopefully this week. People are looking forward to, because a lot of reconstruction will have to take place in Gaza, especially where the Hamas headquarters is, especially where most of the destruction has taken place. And I'm sure there will be serious humanitarian crisis, especially in Gaza.
Now, quickly, let me ask you this question. Don't go back to history, too much history, because we all know the history of these cat and mouse between the two groups of people. What exactly led to this war that we are seeing now, 10 days ago? What exactly, what were they fighting for?
I think it's a continuation of this issue of land. You know, Ishaq Rabin had started this policy of land for peace, but other subsequent Israeli government have said, no, we can't give our land for peace. We should even be taking more land. You know the strategic plan Trump had before losing his second term bid. It was for Israel to take over some Palestinian lands. And as we all know, the issue of this, at the center of all this thing, is land. And the issue is, do you displace or do you remove people from where they have settled years ago, and you are not saying they must move because this land belongs to doesn't belong to you? Maybe you've just been a squatter or a tenant. So that is the issue.
Okay, let me ask Mazi Godson. You read international relations here in the United Kingdom. How do you see all these war and how it's going to affect the rest of us in very few seconds?
Yeah, thank you very much, Doc. I think the issue that has been ranging for the past over 50 years now between Israeli and the Palestine comes as a historic tendency in terms of the fact that the Palestinians see themselves as the original owners of the territorial area that is today called Israel and Palestine. And the Israelites, in other hand, see themselves as the original or the real owners of the part of the entire territories that is today called Israel and part of the areas within Gaza area. And so this infighting over occupation and land grabbing with regards to the words of most of the Palestinians leaders, the Hamas as a person, and the right to Jerusalem, part of Jerusalem and Gaza. So it's been an ongoing historic. If we go through the reality of the biblical stories we read, we'll find that all this has been going on even from the biblical day between Israel and the Palestinians. And so we don't know the end. Somebody said that the mountain mounts or something like that was on fire, and this is the sign for the coming of
it's called the Temple Mount. Yes, Temple Mount.
That is a sign that Christ is about to come. I'm sorry, we should be mindful of the kind of rhetoric we use or the way we make statements that are very inflammatory and are very deeply spiritually indebted to mankind today. And so I see this as a huge challenge. And going by Israelis' hard power politics, whenever you try to attack them. And remember,
sorry, let me quickly ask you a question. Do you see an end to this one? Is there an end? What end do you see to this one? What is going to persuade? What is going to dissuade Israel? What is going to dissuade the Hamas?
The end to this is for Hamas to surrender their militant attitude and reactions to Israel, or else.
How about Israel not occupying their land? How about Israel not occupying their land?
Well, if you listen, I was listening to a message by one sheikh from, I think, from Saudi Arabia or something like that a few minutes ago, and he says that in all honesty and in truth, this same land that have been challenged by Hamas is originally the lands of the Israelites. It belongs to the Israelites. And if they are coming to claim what belongs to them now, all they need is to go into a form of a compromise. The Hamas people or part of those people that believe that they are within the Hamas knowledge or idea should concede all these concepts and behave in reality. Because if this is not the case, the crisis will continue. There's not going to be an end to it. There's not going to be an end to it. And I don't think there's anything about a particular sign of Christ coming in this whole matter at the moment.
Okay. Let me ask Mark.
We are facing the reality of confrontations of power and
thank you, Mazi. We just have to move on quickly. Mark, how do you see it? What can end this problem?
Yeah, thank you very much, Doc. First of all, let's take note of what really started this recent war. Even though we know that it's an age-long conflict that's been going on between the Israelis and the Palestinians, but this particular one started on May 6th, and it started with a Supreme Court in Israel giving an eviction of 6 Palestinians. 6 Palestinians family were evicted from a place called Sheikh Jarrah, and it's a neighborhood that is occupied by East Jerusalem. So this is the exact reason why this recent escalation. The flare-up of Israel and Palestine has always been very, very strong, and years, like we said, years coming, riots, rocket attacks, and everything. One thing is a fact: as long as the Palestinians allow Hamas to dictate and to make declarations for them on their behalf, there will always be war. Because Hamas is, funny enough, is a terrorist group. Yes, now these are the facts. So Hamas instigates things, and it now falls on innocent Palestinians. If you follow the news, we've been following the news here in Schengen Story Media, and we see, right there in Palestine, there are Christians. Also, inside Israel, there are Muslims. So we have a conflict of ideas and opinions and so many things. Some of the Muslims inside Israel are crying and saying, "Why is Israel doing this?" The Christians inside Palestine.
May I quickly ask you,
yes,
what led to the Supreme Court? Do we have the principle of the Supreme Court of ejecting these 6 Palestinians? Because it appears that was the beginning of this recent conflict. What principle did they base it on?
Yes, the Supreme Court was acting under the international law, which effectively says that Israel has that part of East Jerusalem. But somehow the Palestinians, just like Mazi said and Dr. Nat, the Palestinians believe these are their heritage. These are for them. So a protest started. It started gradually, and it escalated into what we have now. Now we're talking of Iron Dome, Israel, Iron Dome, seizing their rockets. There have been lots of rocket spraying, but thank God to the Israel Iron Dome, a very powerful machine, like a Scud missile that enacts and stops the effect of the rockets on people's life. But we are having carnage. We're having a lot of innocent babies, people dying for nothing, just from agitations that they never agreed to. And also look at it. These are 2 brothers. The Palestinians and the Israelis are really brothers. They speak the same language.
We just have to. Let me quickly ask Kenny, because there are some other issues we would like to get to. Kenny, any side for solution on this? Because I know you may be vast on this. Have you visited Israel before?
I've not been to Israel as a country before.
Yeah, you need to go. You need to go. Have you been to Palestine before?
I've crossed over the other side. I went to.
Well, let me hint you. If you visit Palestine before you visit Israel, you may have problem on your passport. I'm just hinting you. But then we need peace. What do you think we should be advising the powers that be?
If I'm going to hazard an answer to this, I would speak as a Christian leader, first of all, which I am. And there's no way I'm going to talk about Israel, Palestinian, and the Arab world without going into the origin of it. And without turning this into an eschatological teaching, this comes from very long line. Israel saying this land has been given to us by God, and Palestinians saying this is our land originally. And to reconcile that becomes difficult in just the political world. It's someone claiming that this is my land, it has been given to me by God, and the other person said, no, we've been living in this land for so long, this is our heritage. So looking at that, you almost feel as if there is no solution. But there's going to be solution, because then you start thinking, because there's going to be someone that is going to be raised that will broker peace between Palestine and Israel, or the Arab world and Israel, which will bring about peace. And that
person is not the Antichrist, is he?
But you know where I'm going on this. It's going to be short-lived. But on a political solution, everybody has taken side. Most people have taken, some people have taken the Israel side, like in United States. We just heard Kamala Harris talked about we're standing strong with Israel, and a lot of us, the people, have taken side with us. So, in terms of political solution, it will be difficult, because people will not be able to agree. Are you going to tell Israel to release some of the land, or are you going to tell Palestinians to say, you know what, just forget about it? Whereby there is Hamas, don't forget that. The UN have declared them as a terrorist organization, and they're being backed by other countries as well. We don't want to mention names now.
Of course. No, I can mention it. Iran does not believe that Israel exists. I mean, in the map of Iran, there is no Israel. Can you imagine?
That is exactly what I was even trying not to mention. But
the Iranians will be so happy.
They have sworn to say they want to wipe Israel out. You know, that is their agenda. And Israel has to protect itself. You know, so they have to rise up also to defend their land and defend their people as well. Politically,
for the record,
it's a difficult one.
Thank you, Kenny. For the record, Joe Biden, the American president, has said that he wants a ceasefire. I don't know whether he's backing that up with behind-the-scene diplomacy, but it appears all his "I want a ceasefire" is just falling on deaf ears. Well, what Christians can do, or what the people, the whole world, Christians and Muslims and other religions, let's keep praying that there must be a ceasefire.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. I think that's where we're going. We just have to.
Yeah, that's where we stay. That's where we stay at the moment. Let's quickly jump into the Shell organization. Many of us know the Shell as a oil company that has been making money from Nigeria for several years. Some people say for the past 50 years it's been lifting oil in Nigeria, and now they have polluted successfully all the land and water where they've been exploiting oil. At the moment, the whole world is asking Shell to clean up the Ogoni land, to clean all the places where they have polluted their water and their land, that fishing and all other forms of industry have come to a close. But there was a bombshell in the last few days. The Shell company said the Nigerian situation is beyond redemption. In fact, when their top official was asked, what are you doing about the Nigerian issue? His reply, Shell had not time to look into that. And it will be difficult to clean up the Ogoni land or whatever land that Nigeria is asking. This is where we find ourselves. We've been told that Shell has even disinvested in Nigeria for the past 10 years. They're selling all their equipments and lands and rights. They don't want to exploit in Nigeria anymore for various reasons. Is this where we are? I think for Shell to tell Nigeria face to face that we didn't have time for you is backed by so many things that I still cannot fathom in my head. Nat, what do you think the Shell company is relying upon? Is it because it's a big conglomerate that a small country like Nigeria cannot handle? Or do you think that the Shell officials feel that the Nigerian leaders are corrupt anyway? What could a corrupt government do to them? Nat?
Well, I think what is really happening is what is happening in the world. In reality, oil is becoming irrelevant, and crude oil is becoming irrelevant. Even refined oil is becoming irrelevant. Shell, especially as you have said, they are carrying their investment outside Nigeria to other non-crude oil ventures. And Shell has also, I will put it this way, they have made enough money in Nigeria that they don't need Nigeria again. They don't need to. The other opportunities in the world market have opened up, and that is the truth. And the earlier Nigeria as a country realizes it, the better. It's becoming too late because we kept talking about diversifying our economy. We kept talking about going into mechanized agriculture or other ventures apart from oil. But for the past 30, 40 years, we kept talking about diversifying our economy, and we have not been serious about it. And Shell knows exactly what is going on in Nigeria, especially our politicians, especially even our experts, even in the oil industry. They know what is going on. I know that what Shell is even doing now, more especially in Port Harcourt, the petrochemical industry in Eleme, they are chucking out other products apart from oil. Because crude oil has so many other byproducts running.
Of course,
yes. And when they take it out and refine it, the other product don't even come back to Nigeria. And so this is what is going on.
Okay, let me ask other colleagues. Mazi, in 1 minute, what do you think we can make Shell to comply?
Thank you, Doc. I think this is beyond the form of Nigerian diplomacy. Nigeria, like I always said, has a very weak foreign policy documents and a weak foreign policy implementation, or a very weak diplomatic negotiating strength when it comes to things like multilateral or multinational diplomacy discourse. And that is the most reasons why we lose out in most of our negotiations, not just about Shell, but other things that relates to Nigeria and international organizations.
So Shell is going to get away with it?
Well, they've been getting away with this for the last 50 years in the country. And moreover, just like Nat said, oil is becoming a less essential commodity for international communities or great worlds, except for China. You find out that shale gas is becoming an alternative to oil. And the development of electric cars is going to wipe away the interest of oil. And that is why you see the likes of Saudi Arabia investing in tourism. The like of most Arab countries now opening up their country for tourism as an alternative to oil. And Nigeria, we are still sleeping, a sleeping dog, a sleeping giant. We are still hoping that oil is the hope for the future, when we are supposed to be looking at alternative things. If we have alternative to oil, like the government is rhetorically saying things like zero oil economy or agro business enterprise, but yet they are not working hard to create that alternative to oil. In 10, 15 years, nobody will want to buy Nigerian oil anymore, because the people who use oil to produce whatever will start having alternative. Like we have there is this industrial hemp. Industrial hemp is another byproduct that has 23,000 elements, including biofuel and bio-oil in it, if reproduced. And we find countries like Germany and Holland and Portugal looking for countries where they can plant this industrial hemp and produce the stocks that can reproduce.
And at the point, the Ondo State governor wanted to plant the industrial hemp, but everybody's talking. Let's quickly get to Mark, because we have to go on a break. Mark in Milan, is this? Are we that helpless?
No, we're not helpless, Doc. What Shell is doing, let's take note of what is happening. The investors and shareholders of Shell ask for a slash in the emission of oil. towards a cleaner energy, and it is coming from the pressure from the investors. That is what is causing this. Now, that pressure is also a positive one, because this way the oil will be refined. I mean, we're all aware of what is going on in the environment. The environment is being polluted, so a slash in emission will help towards cleaner energy, and it's vital. The company's plans for the future is geared towards more helpful things for humanity. Human health matters. So Shell is looking into human health. Shell is looking into cleaner energy, and Nigeria just has to key in. I had this discussion with a senator 2 years ago. I told him, listen, very soon, a senator in Nigeria, I had this discussion with him. I said, very soon, your oil, you'll be drinking it, or you people will have to, you'll just be drinking it there with yourself. I said, because the Western world is into a more refined kind of oil. And I gave him a clue to what could happen. Russia country as a country, they are very good at bringing the gadgets to slash emission. They have those machines and those algorithms and everything. So I gave him that idea, and I think something will happen in that aspect. So
well, it's hopefully something will happen. But the little I know about Nigeria, for the past how many years, they've been looking to pass one bill on petroleum industrial bill, and they've never been able to, for whatever reason. We'll have to go on a short break. When we return, we'll be looking closely at Nigerian politics, the ups and downs. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Ben Television has been going for almost 2 decades now, representing the African, Caribbean, and ethnic communities in the diaspora, especially based in the United Kingdom. We have been providing content, various programs to empower, make an intervention, deliver, and enlighten the mainstream community about what it is to be a BAME in the United Kingdom. For almost 2 decades, this has been our ethos, bridging the gap. Now we seek for your support and partnership in delivering what we need to achieve in the coming generation for our youth, either through training, mentorship, empowerment for their entrepreneurial skill, talent, and in their business. Ben Television, bridging the gap, you're welcome to be with us. Thank you very much for joining and being partners of Ben TV, creating that bridge between the mainstream and the other communities in the United Kingdom and in Europe.
Give yourself away for me.
Thank you for staying with us. It's Ben Television. The program is You Decide. We presented to you last week this video by Yerima. We want to say that it's not the governor Yerima we all know, is the another Yerima making this point. But the point is making, we just want to touch on it, whether we agree with him or not. Listen to what this Yerima said concerning the politics in Nigeria.
That we all spread our hands. Aymana, go. Aymana. 1 minute, come inside.
You spoke about the Northerners preparing for 2023.
Yeah.
And quite a number of people have said, why would this man be saying that Northerners should prepare for 2023 again? Yeah. Aren't there other people in Nigeria? So could you expatiate on that?
This is democracy. And democracy, we run a constitutional democracy. And constitutional democracy is all about people. It's about number. And I have no doubt in my mind, we have the number. I don't want to sound immodest. The 2015 election, 2019 election has clearly defined who is who. I'm not trying to be arrogant, and I'm also not saying that it's a thing that must be forcefully on Nigerians. But I'm saying, considering the fact that a lot of things had happened, let me make mention of two things. One was, vividly remember Obasanjo had a regime from 1999 to 2007, uninterrupted. Now hand over power democratically to Yar'Adua. Yar'Adua only lasted 1 year. The second year, he was ill. We had an acting president in that capacity, which is Jonathan. Jonathan had 1 year. Umaru had only 1 year. Jonathan had the other year. Then subsequently, there was issue of doctrine necessity that suddenly, after the demise of Yar'Adua, the second year and few months, there was issue of doctrine necessity that made him substantive president at that time. When he becomes a president, you could now recall that Yar'Adua had only 1 year, even in his tenure. Jonathan had an acting president for 1 year and subsequently becomes substantive president for another 2 years at that first tenure of Yar'Adua regime. Now, in 2011, it's expected that Jonathan shouldn't have contested, since it's about rotational presidency, and we are supposed to have uninterrupted 8 years.
Right.
Now, there was an interruption in 2011 where Jonathan contested and won the election, even when some of us were totally against it because we knew it would come to a day like this. He won the election. You know, normally it is very rare and very difficult to upturn election against an incumbent government. Jonathan now got his way for second term. Now, Jonathan finished. If you put up the 8 years of Obasanjo, the 3 years of Jonathan, the 6 years of Jonathan per se, is this 6 years? Yes, this 6 years of Jonathan. You put together, you realize that if you put up your pen and paper, you realize they start to have about 15 years.
So if the North is being marginalized?
We are being marginalized, that's the language. Now, Yar'Adua had only 1 year for the northern slot. Even if Buhari successfully finishes 8 years, automatically you put together, we had only 9 years. So how can you compare 9 years? Even if we are given another opportunity in 2023, if we have another one shot that we may likely going to get, God willing, we have only 13 years. Already we have been cheated for 2 years. But by the way, at least it is better to go to 13 than just end in 9.
But is it about the number of years one spends or competence? Like as our speaker today mentioned, like competence.
Are you saying that you only have the competence one in southern part of the country? We don't have them in the north?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you say northerners,
the north will produce something competent with full capacity. Certainly not what we are seeing today. We will ensure that we bring a man from northern part of this country that will be buyable, sellable to the southern people. And we have no doubt in our mind the southern people will be rest assured, will be more confident that this is truly a pan-Nigerian president we are going to produce by God's grace from 2023. And certainly we will lobby. We will call for attention. We will seek for understanding of Nigerians, and certainly it will come to pass.
Right. People, if you are saying that northerners feel marginalized in a way,
yes,
and then southerners have been there for a while, what do you think the southeasterners will talk about?
On normal circumstances.
Well, you've had it all. Nat, let me hand it over to you. What comments do you want to make on what is saying? Who is this Yerima? And then what's your comment in quick fashion?
Well, I have a very serious challenge that people come out to talk and they don't know what they are talking about. Or They don't have anybody's mandate. I just think he's talking for himself. The Arewa Youth Consultative Forum, which he says he's president of and representing, there is nothing like that. So you see what he's saying. See himself confusing himself, trying to confuse others. We all know this. What brought us today to this rotational presidency was the annulment of the June 12th election presidential result, where IBB's regime refused to recognize the election result that Abiola was definitely coasting to victory, but the military said no, Abiola cannot be president of Nigeria. And so they turned around to now say, okay, let us rotate this thing. The PDP brought in some of the challenges we have today. The issue of zoning is not in the constitution. It's just more of a gentleman's agreement to please some individuals. And today the people are talking, it's no longer zoning, it's no longer rotational. We are going to do it on merit. So who is fooling whom? What exactly is going on?
Okay, well, let me ask Gossin. Gossin, what do you know about the Asaba Declaration? Southern governors coming together and then declaring certain things, no grazing in the southern part of the country. They gave some restrictions to some things. Can you update us on the Asaba Declaration as you know it?
Before I go into that Asaba Declaration, I want to make some obvious corrections and also to stand in view with what Yerima said. According to the PDP constitution, there is what is laid down in their principle with regards to rotational presidency and rotational governorship in their constitution. And I also know, obviously, that same system applies to the APC, because some of those who made up APC were also part of the PDP and some other elements of the other political parties. What is here is that we cannot run a system we have in Nigeria today without having a general understanding how power should be rotated among the nation states. Remember, Nigeria is a country made of nations, and it is not supposed to be controlled by one of those nations against the other. So it is about having a common understanding among the nations that form the nation state called Nigeria, and how the leadership and rulership of the country is conducted in mutual respect of one another and understanding. So secondly, where I understand with Yerima is the fact that the biggest problem we have that brought in the situation we're having today was the failure of Jonathan respecting that gentleman understanding. That gentleman understanding led to the break of transition of the northern rule in 2011.
All these things you are saying, they are not contained in the Nigerian constitution. That's why I don't want us to explain.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it contains in the Nigerian constitution. What matters is there's a political institution that has a rule, and the rule has to be followed. That's the most important thing. Don't let us conflict national.
The political party decisions. Oh, hold on. Political party decisions and constitutions, they override the national constitution. Are you telling me?
No, they don't override the national constitution. They are meant to guide the political culture of the political parties and those who belong to that political party. But secondly, let me say that Nigeria lacks a political culture. Neither do they have a proper political ideological strand. And so that is why we are having conflict of interest and conflict of opinion and views. You can see that what happened in Asaba is a photographic and a Photoshop arrangement, because among the 17 of them, there are stooges. There are those who are there to protect the interests of the president of the country in that meeting. They are there to spy on what the others are doing, just like what Hadizat did with the what did you call them? The girls, whatever. That she came into that movement and became a stooge, became an informant, an insider for the government of the day, and disrupted the activities of that organization and gave information to the government, and I ended up being compensated And now they can see obviously that she was a bad egg in that system. So also is what is happening in the South. I told people all the statement they are doing there is all political. They are none of that statement comes from the heart of 65%, 70% of those who are represented in that governorship arrangement.
Then why were the northern so hold on, why were the northern governors feeling so jittery that they had to oppose them, and we have some other individuals opposing the Asaba Declaration?
Well, I would say that the obvious thing here is that there is a very mistrust and distrust within the system, both in the north and in the south. Let us show our viewers how the southern governors are reacting. Let's see what Governor Wike, southern governor reacting. Let's hear Governor Wike as he reacts to the antagonism from the northern governors.
That's what is opportunity to say. All those who are saying what the southern governor said, divine grace, I have taken further step to fulfill what the southern governors have said in Asaba. If anybody wants to die, go and die and hang yourself in a electric pole. We have taken a position and we are not going back. Enough is enough. We are not the class citizens of this country. We also own this country and must protect what's happening in this country.
Well, Mark, in Milan, if anybody wants to die, let them go and die. They've taken a decision at Asaba, and that is final. The southern governors are speaking through Wike. What's your position?
Yes, thank you, Doctor. First of all, I want to disagree with my good friend Mazi Azu. That meeting is not a Photoshop. It's not an arranged thing. And if there are any snitch or any conspiracy behind it, that would be sad. The southern governors have taken a decision, a roadmap for rebuilding a new Nigeria. And that new Nigeria will be in the interest of all of us. So it will be an equal Nigerian project now. Now, those words and the actions taken are serious. Azu, I disagree with you. Even if you were there and you're saying this, it's not correct, because you're talking of different governors from different parties coming together, leaving party sentiment and agreeing to something that is vital. Yes, we know that there have always been snitch, like they use the word, in most cases in governmental things and in Nigerian politics, but not this case. I got briefing that day from a state governor's PA, and they mean it. It's a word. The award is bond. So, and that was why there was the reaction from the northern governors, because they knew that this alliance, this coming together is power. But it is also for our good. It is for the good of Nigeria. We can't be, we were last week talking about the people, how suffering and so much of the segregation and the inequality has robbed on the minds of people. People no more see any value in life. So, but now there is light. The governors are releasing all sentiment, party sentiment, and saying, listen, first of all, no grazing or no open grazing. Second of all, and these words are born. So Azu should think the word again. It is no.
Okay, Victor.
May I respond?
Let's get from Victor. Victor, what's your take on this one?
May I have a right of response?
No, not yet. Not yet. I want to ask Victor. Victor, what's your take on this one?
Well, the Asaba Declaration, personally, I don't believe it's a fixed issue. I think this is Southern governors coming together and saying, you know what, we need to bring solution out. I mean, people have been crying. Things have been happening in the South and probably at the North as well, you know, and the killings have been going on, the abductions have been going on, everything has been going on. And then everything has been politicized to a level whereby life is becoming cheap. And coming together of this mind doesn't mean that there may not be one or two that may be selling out. Even Jesus Christ with his 12 disciples had a Judas, but it doesn't stop the work that was set out. And I believe very strongly that the coming together of these minds will prove to be, in the long run, this is my opinion, to be something that will eventually may save Nigeria as a nation, you know, because there is no more fear anymore. They're now saying, you know what, this is the position of things, take it or leave it. Let us work with these parameters and let's go forward to it.
Victor, you are a Christian Nigerian leader in the United Kingdom, and you have invited scores of people on the 5th of June to come and listen and to come and pray. Can you expatiate on that?
Oh, okay. It got to a point whereby the problem of Nigeria is becoming so complex that we say, okay, Lord, you need to speak to us. And one of the things I understand is that you wage war with knowledge. I mean, bringing panelists together to speak to us about Nigeria on the 5th of June, telling us what is actually happening. And then we use that as Christian leaders to pray into Nigeria. God still answers prayer. Prayer still works, whether we like it or not. Prayer still works. God still opened the listen in heaven. And if you go to 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14, said, if my people that are called by my name shall humble themselves. We're going to a position of humility as a nation because we've offended God. And we're going to depart from all our evil ways. We're going to ask God and pray. And we're going to say, Lord, answer our prayers. I believe Nigeria is still savable. And I believe that God is still interested in Nigeria. And I believe that
where is this venue? Where is your venue?
Oh, the venue will be 258 Langham Road in Turnpike Lane. It's N15 and NP15 3NP. That's where it will be. 258 Langham Road. It's just right opposite the Turnpike Lane Tube Station. Once you get down from the Turnpike Lane Tube Station, it's just like less than 10 seconds walk. And you look up and you will see the Christ Harvest.
Do you have a website or an email if anybody wants to get in touch with you?
Yes, you can get in touch with me with Victor Kenny McCarthy at theharvestarmy.org. Victor Kenny McCarthy at theharvestarmy.org.
Okay, we will say that before we close. Thank you very much. Azu, yes, your right of reply to
right of reply to my very good friend in Italy, my very good brother. What I mean is this. That is what Overmars, I don't know if you read Overmars' book, one of his books. He spoke something about rational space for conversation. A rational space for conversation should allow for all-inclusive discourse where people of interest come together and discuss actions to be taken. And I think the fact that the Southern people have an agenda, there should have been a need for a collective discourse and bargaining on their position. And when people do things and there is a hidden concept behind it, there's always the assumption that this is just an arranged construct by a group of people. And like I said, time will tell if I'm right or wrong, if the decisions of the South will work before 2023. Watch out, because at the end of the day, they all are clamoring for an appointment to see Mr. President and make their case. Watch out after the meeting with the president. Watch out after the meeting with the president.
Let me invite the studio.
How many of them will come back?
We don't have much time. We don't have much time. Let me invite the studio to give us Professor Yusuf's discussion in the Arise the Arise program. The Arise television invited Professor Yusuf, a close companion of Shehu Gumi, and let's listen to what he has to say. And I want to hear what you guys have to say as well. Studio.
But if anybody tells you there is a military solution to this conflict, he's either dishonest or he doesn't know what he's talking about. So yes, there's a role for the military, but there is no military solution to this problem. Banditry, I've said it, I've written. Banditry is a social problem and not a military problem. We are increasingly militarizing what is essentially a social problem. We are dropping $1 million bomb on the people we should be providing water for. We will have peace with less money than we are buying this to Carnegie. Another
Yusuf,
thing, Governor El-Rufai, what I said. Yeah.
No, Professor Yusuf, before you talk about Nasir El-Rufai, let's take a short commercial break, and then when we return, the conversation will continue. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is still Usman Yusuf, professor of hematology and bone marrow transplantation, and a former executive secretary of the National Health Insurance Scheme. Professor Usman Yusuf, thank you for staying with us. Very quickly, you were going to talk about Governor Nasir El-Rufai, whom you said is deaf, blind, and dumb. You wrote something there, sumum, yunum, humyum, something like that, you know, whatever. I don't know what that means, since I don't understand the language. But as you talk about, your beef with Governor Nasir El-Rufai, we also like you to begin to talk about solutions. How do we solve this big problem that Nigeria faces?
Good. We'll talk about solutions because my wife asked me not to talk about Nasir El-Rufai again. But briefly, I wrote that paper. Sumum bukuyum umuyum is Arabic. It's from the Quran. It means deaf, dumb, and blind. And I've said it. Nasir El-Rufai is deaf, dumb, and blind to the sufferings of his people when it comes to insecurity. These children were in custody for 56 days. He said he wasn't going to talk to anybody. 5 were lost. This is the first fatality in this country of all the 7 schools abduction. Governor El-Rufai is not showing leadership when it comes to insecurity in his country, in his state. Kaduna State has now become the epicenter of insecurity because of his unguided utterances. I've said this, so this is not secret. And I stand by what I say. He was elected to protect people, not to endanger their life. And his continued unguided utterances are endangering the lives of people in Kaduna State. And that's all I will say, thanks to my wife. Second, solutions. This is the honest reality. We need to accept that there is no military solution. And every part of the country, elders need to come in to help solve security problems. Well, what are the things? Short term, medium term, and long term. Short term. And this is exactly what we've started. I said 4 C's. First of all, communication. Open a channel of communication, a trusted channel of communication, and that's what Sheikh Gumi has done. Secondly, the second C is build confidence. There is so much mistrust all across. Build confidence, and that's what they trust Sheikh Gumi. And number 3 is cessation of hostility. Number 4, ceasefire. We have to have ceasefire by all. Their grievances are local, not with the federal government, with vigilantes, So we need to open a channel of communication, which we're doing, build confidence, which we're doing, cessation of hostility, and then get to ceasefire. And that's what we are. But if anybody tells you there is a military solution to this conflict, he's either dishonest or he doesn't know what he's talking about. So I
want to get the reactions of my fellow colleague. Nat, what is the reaction? What is your immediate reaction? El-Rufai is deaf, dumb, and blind, and then we should try and accept the bandits because there's no military solution. They have a role to play, but it's not going to be military solution. We just have to imbibe the idea of bringing these people into our fold again. And now, quickly, I just want everybody to have 1 minute discussion before we go on break.
Well, the Professor Usman Yusuf or Yusuf Usman, he's talking like somebody who doesn't really know what is going on, but he knows. You know, he used to be part and parcel of this government, but because he mismanaged the portfolio the office was given, he was sacked. And that is the
National Health Insurance Scheme.
Yes, he was sacked for mismanaging his budget. And you know, incidentally, he's from Katsina State, most likely from Daura, where the president comes from. And those things he has said of Nasir El-Rufai can equally be applied to him, because the two of them are not politicians. Rufai is not a politician, he's an accidental politician, accidental civil servant. Professor Usman Yusuf is not a politician, he's a medical practitioner. And so,
what's your take on we should accept bandits? We should just close our eyes and accept bandits. What will you say?
He is an associate of Gumi now. If he's talking, that is Gumi talking.
Okay. Let me take, because we just have to go on break, but let me hear quickly. Mazi Godson, what was your take on this man, Professor Yusuf, what you've just heard?
Well, thank you very much. Sometimes it's good when you hear from those who are also insider in the system, the present system, so they know the obvious truth. And sometimes when they speak, we should be able to take some clue from whatever comments or statements they make. Two things here. Banditry is, like he said, and I believe, was a kind of a socially oriented and politically oriented movement that turned out to be out of control by those who implemented those banditry agenda. Remember, banditry came as a failure of the ongoing mining, unlawful mining in Zamfara state that spilled into Katsina state. And some of these banditries that they call them are not really Nigerians. These are people that were brought from outside Nigeria and then came in, became overlord to those who brought them and invited them to those states to operate on their behalf. And suddenly now, these people have kind of recruited among the indigenes, young men and women, to be part of their system. And calling it a social issue is not obviously wrong, but then it is about those who generated those agenda being able to resolve the issue themselves, which they have failed to do. And these guys have resulted into serious banditry and serious crime agenda across the states in those areas. And obviously, it is something they need to find out how to resolve among themselves. If not, these guys are out of control and will never be controlled by any.
Will you agree with him that El Rufai is deaf, dumb, and blind?
Well, I would, I 100% agree with you. El Rufai is one of the most dangerous person in the Nigerian country today.
Are you serious?
He's the most unguided individual. I will not call him a politician.
Okay, I accept that one. Just like the most unguided, but it can't be the most dangerous.
No, it's the most dangerous. I tell you, most of the killings going on in Kaduna State is as a result of his actions. He's the most dangerous, and most of the things going on across the north. I tell you, he is one of the most dangerous Kaduna mafias.
Okay, will you accept that? That's a personal opinion. That's a personal opinion.
It's so not my personal opinion. I am telling you from what I have had in Nigeria. I spent a few times in part of the north. I'm just trying
to protect the program. I'm trying to protect the program.
Obviously, I want to tell you the honest truth. You see, when people say the truth, we try to diplomatically.
No. You said it's the most dangerous.
The fact is that this present Buhari government is having one of his greatest challenge with the people of El Rufai.
Nigeria. Let me ask, we have to go on a break, but let me ask Marky Milan, do you agree with Professor Yusuf, and to what extent do you disagree with him?
No, thank you, Doctor. Doctor, there's a problem here. Obviously, I had this clip during the week, and I want to submit to Professor Yusuf that he is speaking out of context, but I don't even know why we're making his speech, his statement, we're giving it relevance. Because
we're giving it relevance because he's trying to connect Sheikh Gumi and Obasanjo, if you listen to the whole thing. So he's connecting the north and the southwest. And so it's important for us to get it straight.
What will a professor in health to know about security and surveillance and people's life? That he doesn't know what he's saying, Doctor. Professor,
but he said, according to him, it's going to meet with the bandits along with Sheikh Gumi. They've met and they've discussed, and he's trying to proffer a solution.
Because they are all in the same gang. Doc. These are all in the same group. Now we're just flowering and painting evil good. Banditry is armed robbery. Banditry is a crime against humanity. Now they are trying to make it look like a social thing. One small occurrence that happens and people can just control it. Banditry is as much as banditry could turn a nation into a war zone. So if the federal government brings in arms and takes charge on banditry, it's very necessary.
So it should be a military solution. Let me just put it on record that the position of Professor Yusuf was that El-Rufai did not spend money to provide security for his people. And when the bandits came in, Sheikh Gumi is now saying the money you did not spend to provide security, come and spend it to pay ransom. That was the position. I'm not saying I agree with him, but that was his position. So there's no way El-Rufai will wash it clean. But before we go on break, let's ask Kenny. Kenny, how do you react to Professor Yusuf's position? Deaf, dumb, and blind, and it's not a military solution, but a social approach. What do you say?
Well, sorry, I'm laughing, but those are strong words. I mean, deaf, dumb, and blind. I believe that the governor of Kaduna State have done more than being deaf, dumb, and blind. And everything starts and falls in leadership. Everything starts and falls in leadership. And it's in the Bible, it's in the other religious books as well. And leaders are raised to bring solution and to look after the citizens. And if there is a problem, we go back to leadership. So I'm not accepting what the doctor said about deaf, dumb, and blind, but I'm still going back to the governor of Kaduna State that he needs to get out and get some things doing. Kaduna has been in the news for the past 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. It's high time he rises up and challenges his own leadership skills and see and bring about good solution to this thing, rather than be paying ransom to bandits. Nobody does that. Nobody negotiates with bandits. I don't believe in that. That's my own opinion. I don't believe in negotiating with terrorists. And that's
But you believe in the governor putting adequate security?
Sorry?
I say you believe in the governor to put adequate security so that we will never get to the position of banditry at all.
That is exactly what I'm saying. That if the governor has been able to do what he's supposed to do, we wouldn't get to this road.
We won't get to this. We'll go on a short break. When we return, how do you fancy 2 men marrying 1 woman? I mean, legitimately. How do you fancy the threesome in 1 bedroom? Don't look at me like that. It's the South African government you should look at. Don't go away. We'll be right back with those who are marrying a threesome.
Ben TV, your ethnic and Africa-led television, welcomes your input, contribution, and support to facilitate our continuous program production, campaign for projects, and other media-related services. We have been here for closer to 2 decades.
Shengen Story Magazine is an African international bi-monthly magazine Based in Milan, Italy, and founded in 2016, the publication focuses on personalities, fashion, style, entrepreneurship, and culture for Africans. The articles on food, movies, fitness, music, travel, sports, technology, and books are also featured. Our lives full of best stories. A lot can happen in a month. Expand your mind, change your world. Get Schengen Story magazine's full editions. Celebrating Africans make an impact. Read better. The Inside Story. Your fashion magazine for a better lifestyle. Inspiring stories for you. Your monthly dose of entertainment. A better mind keeping you updated.
Hashtag Schengen Story Magazine. Get Schengen Story Magazine full editions.
It has been 1 year of coronavirus, and that sickness has affected the whole globe. The aftermath will even be worse, the way the scientists are telling us. And we believe that we need to counter it right now. If 1 million souls should do good to 1 other million souls, it will be a better place. So we want to start this project. 1 million souls to do good to 1 million souls. Why don't you join us? You don't have to register anywhere. Follow me on Twitter at Shegun Johnson UK for daily tips. There we show you how to do good to 1 person. Always remember, 1 million souls, do good to 1 million souls.
Thank you for staying with us. We got this story from the South African television program that the South African government has approved polyandry. In essence, a woman can marry more than 1 man at the same time. And to me, it was like, are you serious? Are you sure this is not fake news? But watch what we saw.
Good evening and welcome to the news brought to you live from the MGP newsroom in the Western Cape, South Africa. In the news tonight, a green paper containing new amendments to the South African Marriage Act had been published today by the South African Department of Home Affairs. One of the proposals is the recognition of polyandry. This then means that a South African woman would be legally allowed to marry more than 1 man at the same time. Hey, not while I'm still alive. Oh, no, 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 no. 1 woman, 2 men at the same time. Yeah. Not while I'm still alive. But let's move on. The deputy.
Well, this man just lost it as an anchorman, and I still can't believe, like he couldn't believe, he was just anchoring the program, maybe a newscaster, and he couldn't believe that was happening to him. And so he said he just could not believe this is serious, and he laughed off. Maybe he's lost his job, I don't know. But you would think that's the end of the story. Before I allow my colleagues to say something, look at immediately after the government passed it, then there was the first Trisom wedding. The trio of them you will see. Please, studio, give us the other video to show how it looks like. she loved the two men together. How did we arrive at these? I'm going to ask you to look at it one more time. She appeared to like the one by her left more than the one by the right. And that may be the challenge of this kind of relationship. Please, studio, show us one more time, because you will see that the man to the right-hand side is going to enjoy more than the man on the right-hand side. The one on the left-hand side, please, studio, show it one more time, because my colleagues may not get what I'm saying. See the one that this woman will like more out of these two men. Let's have that video one more time. Nat, what is your immediate reaction?
My immediate reaction is this is just for the cameras.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because the most important thing is outside. I mean, after the camera, what next? And again, this is not new. I don't see. It's not anything social. I mean, special. I'm a sociologist, and this polyandry thing is even practiced in 1 or 2 countries in West Africa.
Yes.
Where
officially is it supported officially?
Something that is accepted by that cultural setup, that society, it doesn't need official stamp.
I know that polygyny, that is one man marrying more than one woman, is accepted culturally in many parts of Africa, but not polyandry. But
polyandry, yes, it's when you say accepted, it's accepted within a particular cultural setup, a locality. It's not a national legislation. It's not a wide thing that is being practiced.
And who are these? Who are these? Do you know the name of the group of people, the communities?
No, I don't know the name of the groups, but I know of
Mazi. Mazi, what's your position on this one when you watch?
Thank you, Doc. Honestly, I would say that the world is changing, and the world is going out of fashion completely from the spiritual values of communality of humanity on earth today. This is not the first time we're hearing stories of this nature. A woman marrying 2 men. Obviously, I think it's happened sometime. I think there was a place in Kenya where that happened, or Uganda, and also somewhere in Europe where it is already happening in some communities. Even in America, it's happening somewhere in Utah or whatever they call it in the United States. So this is happening here and there, and obviously we are going into a state of immorality beyond the imagination of mankind. Today we hear mother marrying son, daughter marrying father, we hear brothers marrying sisters, we hear all sorts of things happening around the world today. And unfortunately, we are getting to a point where morality becomes an insanity in our society, where anything goes for anything as long as it works for everybody. Today we see the issue of gayism, lesbianism, all now becoming legalities. So obviously I will not doubt anything that will become legality in this our present generation and world. We get the point.
Let's hear from
everything goes for everything now. Everything goes for anything.
How did you see this one?
Yes. First of all, I want to say that it is still a proposal. It has not been confirmed. Yes, it is still in a proposal as at yesterday, because it was trending on Twitter during the week and last week. So it is not confirmed. And like Dr. Nat said, what that the video we just saw is just a show. Even though yes, they could be doing it, but it's not yet a legal issue in South Africa. Still on the proposal. That's number one.
So what's your take on it?
Yes, my take on it is obviously it's not new. Dr. Nat was saying something. Yes, in the South Asia, polyandry is common. South Asia, also in Central Africa, it's common. It's done. Kenya had a polyandry.
So if they have an issue, whose surname will it be?
Those are the clause and the issues to ponder. Anyway, it's been trending on Twitter, and polyandry is common all over the world. America is illegal, but you have quite some number of people that are in such relationship.
But Mark, let me ask you a question.
Yes,
for those
sir.
countries in Africa that accept culturally, that accept polygyny, that is one man marry more than one woman at the same time, why should they oppose polyandry? I know the combination of polyandry and polygyny, they're called polygamy, just for our viewers to know. But we normally call a man marry more than two women, we call them polygamists. But here, why should anybody complain if polygyny is acceptable? Why not polyandry?
No. The human's family, it has always been that a man could have many wives. You know, it's if you look at
all animals are equal.
Biblically, take note that biblically there's a passage in the Bible where it says a time will come when women will be more than the men. 8 women will hold on to one man and say, let's be your wife and bear your name. So, and from beginning of mankind, according to the Bible, for those of us that read the Bible, there has been polygamy. There has been one man marrying several wives.
Yes, we are saying what is wrong with one woman marrying?
No. It's not decent, for example. It's not. It doesn't even look decent.
But it is decent for one man to marry more than one woman.
Yes. That looks.
Okay. Let me just go to Kenny. Thank you. You have answered my question. Kenny, please help me out. What is different in all of these? Polyandry, polygyny. Where are you, Kenny? Help me out.
I'm still here. I don't know where to start. This is a whole topic on its own. But I will help. My brother Matt has just spoken. There's a place that I think is Matthew chapter 6, verse 24, that you cannot serve two masters. You will love one and hate the other. Yes. So I don't know who this person, this lady will now love and hate. She will definitely love one and hate the person. But that's just to sort that out. But again, if you look at 2 Timothy chapter 3, if you can read from verse 1 to 6, it talks about in the last days. We are in the last days. Men are dreaming different things. You know, this human rights situation, I've got a right, everybody's got a right. It's being pushed to the limit. It's being pushed to the limit. We see people are clamoring for them to bring down the age of sexual consent to as low as like 10. I mean, who does that in this world? But that is where these human rights and all these things are pushing towards. Some people are pushing the boundaries. So, but it's part of the end time. When we said, but mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, and it goes on like that. And you will see that the heart of man is desperately wicked. And if God doesn't do something in it, what happens is that they will conjure different things that you will say, can this happen? And that's where we are now. But I hope that we turn into law. I just hope so.
Now, I'm going to ask you one more question. I know it's a difficult one. With the kind of feminist talks we hear all the time, and now that they want a woman wants to marry 2 men at the same time, do you think they'll be able to balance it? If we've been able to balance all the sexualities, the transgender, all of them, will this be another one to counter polygamy, especially in Africa?
You see,
Kenny.
we're talking about these rights. I've got the right to do this. I've got the right. Yes, everybody now has a right. The dogs in your house have a right. The cats in your house have a right. Everybody, the ants have rights. And that's where we are. You see, when we cannot stand for something, we fall for everything. When we don't know how to put a line across something, what happens is that there is no more standard. We're getting to a point whereby standard is being lost. It started with just maybe like women's lead. They want liberation because of what has been happening, the way the men has been treating them. Yeah, but it's now getting to a point whereby it's no longer tenable. It's no longer tenable. Look at what is costing now. Yeah.
Kenny, you are a special guest today, and we thank you for coming. Please tell us again. I'll be asking the studio to put up your poster. Tell us again what you'll be doing on the 5th of June, and why and where and how.
Right. Thank you. This is a prayer for Nigeria. I mean, I've lived in UK for over 33 years more, and my heart, I was born in Nigeria. The water is running in my vein. I've never stopped doing seminars and prayers for Nigeria. This has been part of me throughout my life here. And when I'm hearing, it's like Nehemiah, you hear there is bad news in Nigeria, and then your heart is torn. And I just call people together, come and tell us what is happening, come and speak to us about the state of Nigeria, and let us use the information we gather on that day to pray. And let's just pray for our nation. And I believe very strongly that God will answer our prayer on that day. And it's on the 5th of June, 2021. And it's, that's the poster there, 5th of June, 2021. And it's at Christ Harvest Center, Turnpike Lane, N15 3NP. And the details are all there. So it starts at 5, and I'm sure within 2-3 hours we should be finished, just to speak to ourselves and pray for Nigeria. Thank you for the time.
All right. Thank you very much. I hope everybody will participate in that, the lovers of Nigeria. Let me see if I can just give, I know time is well spent, if 10 seconds each for every speaker on what we have discussed today, any part of it. What will you say in 10 seconds, Nat?
I don't even know what to say.
In 10 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know what to say.
Okay, well, bless you. Mazi,
thank you.
All the way from Nigeria.
Well, thank you, Doc. I would say that it is time that we begin to work together to resolve an issue that is turning the world upside down between Israel and the Palestinians, dividing the South and the North Pole in recent generation. It is time we begin to look at our decaying moral standards globally, in terms of the way we tend to define marriage, in terms of the way we tend to define humanity in common inhabitants across the world, with this issue of immoral marriages that is going on around our society. It is time we begin to ask Nigerians to wake up to the reality, wake up to what is happening to you today.
Wake up and smell the coffee.
The solution is
Mark in Milan. I hope your 10 seconds will be Italian 10 seconds.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's been a beautiful time sitting here, rubbing minds with my brothers and friends from all corners of Europe. There's obviously an awareness going on around the world, mostly with Black people and young Black people. And that awareness has to be supported by older people, because there's a new wave of reasoning, of doing things. And Nigerians are a key player in this new awareness. So we're hoping that with this, a new Nigeria will arise soon. Can
you come up with something like this next Wednesday, so that we can pick this new awareness first? Will you do something like a 5-minute presentation next Wednesday?
All right, sir. Thank you.
All right. The last but not the least, Kenny, what have you got to say? Given all the things we said.
My heart is with Kaduna. I've ministered in Kaduna, so I'm asking Governor El-Rufai, please put on your leadership's cap and just bring a solution to the Kaduna issue at the moment. It's no longer tenable. We can't continue like that. And secondly, I'm inviting everybody to come and pray for Nigeria on Saturday, the 5th of June at Turnpike Lane. The details are on there. God bless you. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure to thank you for coming from your heavy duty of schedule, and I want to thank my colleagues here. Mazil, all the way from Nigeria, came yesterday. Should be still be sleeping, but is here with us. All the way from Italy, Mark, thank you very much. And my friend and the companion here in London, Nati Yakwo, thank you. We have to thank those in the studio, Anthony and Olsens and Hazel. Well, thank you very much. And more thanks to our executive producer, Dr. Alistair Shoyode. Until next Wednesday, my name is Shegun Johnson. The program is You Decide. At the end of the day, you decide.